It is time for the final countdown of 2023. Let's get to it. Hi everyone, I'm Sandy and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a 1001 book countdown for you. If you're not familiar with the 1001 book countdown, it is a passion project of mine where I'm reading books off of the 1001 books you must read before you die list and just slowly making my way through this massive project. I combined all editions of that book together, which gave me 1,315 books, but I started my channel when I got close to 1,000 and called it the 1001 book countdown. Hopefully you consider giving me a subscribe and sticking around and seeing how far I get in this massive project of mine. It has been an interesting year, a mixed year. But for today, what we will go ahead and do is put up our numbers as always. And the first number is 832. That's what I have left off of the 1,315 books. And 2. Every year at the beginning of the year, I pre-select 52 books and with the goal of trying to get that number down to 0 every year. I have not made it any year. I like to have a smaller number to focus on just because it makes me feel like I'm making some serious progress, which is great. But yeah, I've never made it to 0. Will this be the year? I don't know. Let's jump into the countdown. Oh man. All right, but the first book that I'm going to talk about today is Aaron's Rod by D.H. Lawrence. This book was originally published in 1922, and D.H. Lawrence actually has 7 books on the 1001 countdown. And this is actually something I have a bit of a bone of contention with the list in general around authors who have so many books represented. In particular, this particular book. So Aaron's Rod follows a character named Aaron Sisson. He is married with children, girls, and decides on Christmas, rather than going home, he goes to the pub and sits there and tries to escape his family on Christmas. There's nothing really redeemable or likable really about Aaron. He just decides to abandon his whole family and go out. He's a flute player. He goes out and is on tour and playing his flute in different places. He comes back a couple of times to his family, but quickly decides that that's not where he wants to be. Okay, fine. But it's not a very good book. I mean, I probably put it right kind of in the middle of the road, 2.5, 3 stars for me on this particular book. The details I will tell you are also already escaping me because it's not a book that has so much substance to it that it's going to stick with me for very long, if at all. I might remember that he played the flute, and I might remember that he was despicable and that he had candles for his family to light their Christmas tree and didn't go home. Instead, he went to the pub. And that, to me, that was like the kind of like that key defining moment of his character right at the very beginning. And he never redeemed himself for me. But why have so many of D.H. Lawrence's books on this countdown? And especially this particular book that isn't anything really special. I mean, Lady Chatterley's Lover is there, Women in Love, Fathers and Sons. I mean, there's a good representation of D.H. Lawrence's books. So when you look at this one, I don't understand. I don't understand why this author has to have so many books represented on this list. And there are so many other books I would replace it with. So I don't know. That's kind of where my little mini rant comes in. It just was kind of, and unfortunately, I will forget about it very, very quickly. But with that book, we do get to go from 832 to 831, and it was on my 2023 list. So that number gets to go from 2 down to 1. The last book on the countdown for 2023 is The Black Prince by Iris Murdoch. Yeah, I didn't read it. Y'all. I mean, oh my goodness. I didn't read it. I wanted to. I started it a couple of times. I read the first few pages a couple times, kept putting it down. And while I'm recording this on Friday the 29th, I'm not going to read this over the weekend. I know I'm not going to read this over the weekend. I'd much rather just pick up some books that are appealing to me and kind of end the year on a very casual note. This is 400 pages. Could I read it over the next 3 days? Probably. But I don't want to. So I'm going to leave my 2023 countdown at 1. Maybe 2024 will be the year I get that down to 0. But for this year, you know, I'm going to consider it a success. 51 books off of the countdown for the 2023 list is pretty incredible. I am very pleased with that particular project. I actually read more books than that, which at the end of this video, I will have the snippets of all of the books that I did read this year, and it's in the 60s. So I made more progress than I really wanted. But yeah, The Black Prince. Oh, The Black Prince is going to have to go back on the shelf, and I will pick it up another time. So yeah, thank you to everyone who supported me. I had everyone in the comments saying everything from, oh, give yourself a break and don't worry about it, to take days off from work and finish your books. I appreciate that sentiment quite a bit, both of those sentiments. And I just made the decision a couple of days ago when it just wasn't appealing to me just to not even pick it up and just read what I wanted, which has been a lot of fun. Have you read any D.H. Lawrence? I would love to hear that in the comments down below. Do you think my criticism of the 1001 list is fair in this particular regard? I would love to hear that. But here is my recap of all the books that I read off of the 1001 countdown this year. 895, which is of course my main number, and 52 because Wise Blood. E.M. Forrester's book, Where Angels Fear to Tread. Flannery O'Connor, Everything That Rises Must Converge, is Like Water for Chocolate by Laura Esquero, Middlemarch by George Eliot, The Drowned World by J.G. Ballard, A Fine Balance by Rohinton Mystery, Pere Goriot by Balzac, Les Miserables by Victor Hugo, Midnight's Children by Salman Rushdie, Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky, Amsterdam by Ian McEwan, A Tale of Love and Darkness by Amos Oz, The Unbearable Lightness of Being by Milan Kundera, The Return of the Native by Thomas Hardy, Margaret Atwood's Alias Grace, Shadowline by Joseph Conrad, The Man Without Qualities by Robert Musil, Blaming by Elizabeth Taylor, Fictiones, and also Labyrinths, Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, The Void by Perec, Go Tell It on the Mountain by James Baldwin, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, A Room with a View by E.M. Forrester, The 13 Clocks by James Thurber, The 39 Steps by John Bushan, The Driver's Seat by Muriel Spark, Ethan Frome by Edith Wharton, The Castle of Cross Destinies by Italo Calvino, The Body Artist by Don DeLillo, Notes from Underground by Dostoevsky, Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, Parable of the Blind by Gert Hoffman, The Awakening by Kate Chopin, Wittgenstein's Nephew by Thomas Bernhardt, Seize the Day by Saul Bellow, Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rees, Brighton Rock by Graham Greene, The Drowned and the Saved by Primo Levi, Billy Budd by Herman Melville, The Green Man by Kingsley Amis, The Music of Chance by Paul Astor, Blind Owl by Sadek Hadayat, Kitchen from Banana Yoshimoto. It's 3 novels, Malloy, Malone Dies, and The Unnameable. This is The Accidental by Ali Smith, Native Son by Richard Wright, Charles Dickens, Great Expectations, Torrents of Spring or Spring Torrents by Ivan Turgenev, Loving by Henry Green, To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, The Castle Richmond by Anthony Trollope, North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell, Freedom by Jonathan Franzen, La Reine Margot by Alexander Dumas, City of God by E.L. Doctorow, Nana by Emile Zola, Money by Martin Amis, Aaron's Rod by D.H. Lawrence. All right, and that brings the 2023 countdown to a close. Thank you so much for being here and supporting me. I really appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much, and I really look forward to an amazing reading year in 2024. As always, like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, everyone, thanks, bye!